I've managed to double my story views on both my personal and business accounts in the last couple of weeks using this one strategy. So it works for all kinds of accounts. Pay attention, take some notes, and then ideally take action at the end of it so you too can see results. Now, the Instagram story algorithm is not too dissimilar from the home feed algorithm. In fact, they share a lot of similarities. Here's how Instagram themselves claim the stories algorithm works. The most important signals across feed and stories, roughly in order of importance, are: firstly, information about the post. These are signals about how popular a post is. Think how many people have liked it, and more mundane information about the content itself, like when it was posted, how long it is if it's a video, and what location, if anything, was attached to it. Followed by the second most important signal, which is information about the person who posted. This helps us get a sense for how interesting the person might be to you. And this includes signals like how many times people have interacted with that person in the past few weeks. Then the third most important signal is your activity. This helps us understand what you might be interested in and includes signals such as how many posts you've liked. And the fourth and final signal is your history of interacting with someone. This gives us a sense of how interested you are generally in seeing posts from a particular person. An example is whether or not you comment on each other's posts. Now that's the official word from Instagram. So what they say is the most important things to getting more story views is actually engagement and your interaction with your audience. Because as Instagram have just said there, the most important signal when it comes to ranking both story posts and feed posts is how popular a specific post is, how engaging a post is. So the most important thing to getting more story views is engagement. But how do you actually track engagement on a story? Well, it could be how many people have actually liked that story, now that that is a feature. It could be how long someone has actually viewed the story. So if you post a 15-second video to your story, are people skipping after 2 seconds? Are they sitting there and watching the entire 15 seconds? It makes a big difference. If there is a poll on the story, it could be how many people voted on that poll. Did most of the people who saw it vote on it, or did very few people vote on it? Instagram also looks if you go forward, back, or skip on a specific story as well. So if I go ahead and post 5 stories right now, do people get to the first one and then just skip along to the next story from a different person? Do they go to the next part of my story? So they just tap across. Do they get to the second part of my story and then tap back to the first one to go get more context, which shows I'm more interested? There are all these little metrics. And what I've found to be the best metric and the biggest indicator to if your stories will get pushed out to more people is how many people actually reply to your story. Because replies are the highest form of engagement. It means so much more than simply liking or watching a story. It shows you're actually a lot more invested in the content as well as the person itself. So let's circle back to how I actually doubled my story views whilst posting less. All I did was post interesting, engaging, response-worthy stories. So I cut out all of the boring stuff, sunset photos, the random food pics, the golf course pictures, because really no one is too interested or intrigued by that kind of content. No one's gonna see you go out for dinner and reply to your story unless they're your best friend or maybe the food was incredible. And in that situation, if it's out of the ordinary, go for it, it could work. But if it's just a mundane Friday night after work, go have a nice meal, it's not really helping anyone that doesn't know you, it's not really building your brand. So instead, I kept it only interesting stuff. Recently, I did an ice bath with a couple of my mates, Jamie and Paul, and they ran me through, how to do it, the benefits of it, all of that stuff there. I went in for 3 minutes the first round, did that, and then a couple of weeks later, I did a 5-minute one, upped it, was super pumped, and they got some photos, and so I posted that on my story and was talking about it. That story got like 100 people reply to it because they were like, what the heck? Some people who knew about the benefits of ice baths and all of that were congratulating me and talking about their own experience and sharing different tips and stuff they'd learned. Other people who might just follow me from YouTube or know me in person and don't really know much about the benefits of it were like, what the heck, you're sitting in 0.5 degree water for 5 minutes, you're absolutely crazy. Fair enough, understandable. Either way, I got a ton of interaction on that because it was interesting. I also had a mate of mine, DJ, who is a basketball player, saying I should be doing 10 minutes and harden up. But you get a mix of responses. A few days later, I posted a story when I saw that a well-known YouTuber, Vanessa Lau, copied my exact video title, idea, and thumbnail exactly and posted the exact same thing like 2 months after she saw my video do really, really well. I posted this wild looking sunset photo from a plane. I know I said don't post sunset photos, but if it's quite out of the ordinary, that was a weird looking image that actually got reposted by an influencer in Dubai claiming it to be his, which was a little bit weird. Dubai looks very different to New Zealand. I posted a cool quote that was on the wall at the gym that I do boxing, and I posted a short educational piece about how not to slide in the DMs from Mr. slideinthedms.com. All of which are interesting stories that sparked a lot of engagement and dialogue with different people, and therefore pushing those stories out to a ton of new people. So I could reach more of my existing audience, get in front of people who might have not seen my content for a while, and occasionally gain new followers, which allowed me to more than double the amount of story views that I was getting on average in a time where everyone is complaining about story views dropping and all of this stuff. So the lesson to take away from this is, instead of posting 5 or 6 or 10 or 15 stories a day, or however many you're doing, cut out the 80% that's not very interesting and just post the 20% that is. If you currently post 10 stories a day, take the best 2 or 3, the most interesting 2 or 3, and post those. If you post 1 story a day, maybe cut it back to like the 2 or 3 most interesting pieces that you post each week. And when people do reply to your story, when people do engage with your story, open up that dialogue with them, reply to them, have a conversation with them. Because remember what Instagram said one of the other most important signals was when it comes to showing people stories? Your history of interacting with that person, as well as how many times you've interacted with them in the past couple weeks. So by talking to your audience, you're then building more of a connection with them, and you're going to show up further in their stories in future. So post interesting stuff, cut out the fluff. Hopefully that helps.